Welcome to Firebird International Raceway just outside of Phoenix, Arizona. I'm Paul Page, and as promised, we are going to give you coverage of the final rounds in Funny Car and Top Fuel from the Lucas Slick Mist Nationals. Now, yesterday they had a lot of rain. It slowed everything down, and then they had that terrible accident that took the life of a female spectator. So the NHRA at the end of the day said, we don't want to run this thing in the dark. We'll run it on Monday, and so they did. So we start with Funny Car. Jack Beckman and John Force. Force, the #1 qualifier, and won just a week ago, looking for back-to-back wins. But Jack Beckman had a lot on the line as well. And right away, John Force found himself in trouble, and coming down to the line, a 412 for Jack Beckman, and he takes the win. And so Jack is here with me now, and that had to feel awfully good. It's been a while.
I told you guys we'd wait 2.5 weeks to run this thing if you could get us a win light. And, you know, it's interesting. We've had good success against Force, but people have argued, well, he wasn't at his prime. Well, I got news for you. John Force is back in prime form right now. And to go up there and be able to beat that team on this weekend when they qualified, they broke our backs second round with that 404. We played it smart, though. We knew a 410 race car was what we were confident with, and that's what we took up there, and it did it.
Now, you have an advantage of a new guy, too, Ron Tobler.
Yeah, Ron's not that new. He's new to us.
New to you, okay.
He's well used in some circles, but second race, I told him, what took you so long? And, you know, Ron brought over 2 of the guys from Cruz's team and 1 from Tony Pedregon's team, and all those guys have tasted a Funny Car championship. And I think that that's going to instill that confidence in the guys that stayed from last year that we can make a run at this thing.
And important to you because we're talking a new paint job on the car, new deal.
Yeah, it's the debut. You know, we've got our mail from home program through MTS, and Valvoline's still on board. We switched body styles, but this is the debut of that tribute to Afghanistan, to those troops this year. Got a little more chrome in the paint scheme. We're generating hundreds of thousands of postcards for our troops in the war zones, and to get that thing in the winner's circle first time out, awesome.
And what does this now predict? Obviously, this thing is working really well.
Yeah, I just figured if we could do this like 21 more times this year, that'd be fine with me.
All right, Jack Beckman, thank you very much.
Guys.
The big win there. When we come back, it's going to be Top Fuel as Corey McLenithan takes on Doug Coletta from Firebird International. Now back at Firebird Raceway as we continue our somewhat delayed coverage of the finals here. Delayed because of weather yesterday for Funny Car and for Top Fuel. In Top Fuel, the final run, and it was a windy, blustery day for it. Corey McLenithan and Doug Coletta. And Corey Mack ends up with the win of 381 at 316 miles an hour. Corey McLenithan takes the win over Doug Coletta. And that was really a big one because he's been tied with Doug for 6th on the all-time list. The tie is now officially broken.
Oh, finally. You know, there's some things you just want to happen. I really wanted to win this race. It's a big deal for us. We saw Jack go out there and win. I thought, you know what, we need to put 2 DSR cars in this winner's circle and break that tie and go out of here with the lead. I mean, it's just been an awesome weekend. Very interesting weekend, very tough. We're racing with heavy hearts today. But at the same time, I mean, for us to go out there and win, this was a perfect time.
And you had to wait not only for Sunday to come and then Sunday come late because of the rain, then overnight it rained again on Sunday night and rained most of the morning. Did the track change?
It did. I mean, we saw the right-hand lane was better. It was always preferred lane during race day on Sunday, and then coming in today, thinking the same thing. But, you know, certain parts of both lanes were actually deteriorating because of the rain. So, I mean, by the time we got back up there, Todd said, we still think the right-hand lane's the one of choice. But to go out there and run 381 and almost 317 miles an hour, that was getting with it, let me tell you.
I got to ask you about your dad. He was supposed to go into surgery at some time this weekend. I know you've been on pins and needles over that.
Definitely. My dad's going to have open heart surgery. It looks like they'll take him in the next day or so, and then the operation the following day. They're going to do a stress test and then take him in. 6-month recovery. It's going to be awful tough, but I'm going to be in California for it and make sure he gets out of that and gets back well on his way.
Well, our thoughts and prayers are with you and him. Corey McLenithan, the Top Fuel winner here in Phoenix. Thank you, my friend. Well, he mentioned that we are all running with a sad heart here today because a spectator was killed during competition on Sunday. And when we come back, we'll take another look at that situation with Antron Brown's accident. Well, this was the accident on Sunday with Antron Brown as he had issues coming right off of the line. And as a result of this incident, a tire came off the car. And then that created havoc and eventually a tragedy. It all began as Antron Brown staged the car for the first round of Top Fuel eliminations. Top Fuel driver Antron Brown lost control when the bolts attaching his left rear wheel and tire sheared off. As Brown's car veered across the drag strip, the wheel assembly hit the front of the vehicle and rolled it on its right side. The engine kept running as fuel and oil poured. Brown was not injured. The wheel then traveled nearly an eighth of a mile, bouncing on the return road and hitting the top of a 6-foot fence. Witnesses say it then hit a woman spectator. It took only seconds for safety personnel to respond, as well as a doctor and nurse who were attending the event. Witnesses say the woman was in a public area and was airlifted from the track, but pronounced dead at Good Samaritan Hospital several hours later.
Been out here a long time. What took place was real strange. You just don't see something like that happen. It's like 1 in a billion.
Today, several racing suppliers are already building devices to keep the wheels locked on the axle, according to one track source. The competitors we talked to expressed sadness and shock.
And all we can say is that we're sorry that this happened. And we know that NHRA and the race teams will address it on how not to have it happen again.
Officials of the NHRA did not want to be interviewed on camera, but issued a statement. Afternoon Phoenix time, the NHRA issued this statement. The entire NHRA racing community is in mourning over the tragedy that occurred on Sunday in Phoenix. Our hearts, our prayers, and our deepest condolences go out to the family and friends of the woman who passed away. The woman's name has not been released to protect the privacy of her family. Safety is the NHRA's top priority, not only for our racers, but also for the millions of fans who attend events around the country. The set of circumstances that led to Sunday's tragedy is being investigated by the NHRA and the race team. We ask everyone to keep the family in their thoughts and prayers. So a very difficult weekend for everyone here, and now we look ahead. The rain, by the way, only allowed Pro Stock to get through their first round of eliminations. They will now hold their final eliminations, not here in Phoenix, but when we go to Gainesville, Florida in 3 weeks. So for here at Phoenix, Arizona, we thank you for spending the time with us, and we send you off to NASCAR Now.